Today's guest is an actor and a model, but where he particularly shines is with a microphone in hand on stages all throughout the Delaware Valley and the Philadelphia region as a stand-up comedian. He's a funny man, trust me. I've verified it, folks. You don't have to check or look twice. And you could also hear him on the Seriously Dad podcast with fellow comedian Jay Yoder. I'm talking about the one, the only, Albert Davis. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm great, brother. How you doing?
Can't complain at all, and nobody would listen anyway. So thank you for.
We would, and it's funny you brought up Jay Yoder. I had me and Jay Yoder did a show last night in northeastern Pennsylvania, a place called Sayre, Pennsylvania.
Yes, how'd it go?
It was great. It's far away. I graduated high school from Sayre, Pennsylvania, so it was like a little homecoming for me.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know you were from up there.
We lived in New York. The crazy story. I'm from Harlem, New York. We grew up in New York City, and right around probably like sixth grade, we moved to Sayre, Pennsylvania, which is like the biggest swing of any like geographical, cultural thing you could possibly do. And then I was in Sayre till I finished high school. Yeah, so it was like a homecoming. I got to see a bunch of old friends. Did a show at a theater that I used to go to when I was younger, and it was a blast.
What brought you to Sayreville?
There's a hospital there called the Guthrie Clinic. My mother's a physician, so we moved from the heart of New York to the armpit of Pennsylvania, I guess. It's like the upper right-hand corner of the state. If you've never been there, you probably don't know what it is, where it is. And it was cool. Actually, I got home like 2 hours ago, and then started rapping with you.
Well, I appreciate the time, and homecomings are always fun.
Yeah.
Regardless of where they are. But I was just thinking back. We met a few years back. We did a very nice Toyota gig down in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And we got to catch up recently in Atlantic City, which was a blast.
We did, but I think Tullamore Dew.
Yeah, you were on that one. Yes, I still have the bottle here in my basement bar.
So we were like in the same commercial, but we weren't shooting really at the same time.
We were in different spots.
I think we like crossed paths on set, but you were with another gentleman at that part of the bar, and I was with a group at this part of the bar. So we technically worked together. That would have been my first project ever, believe it or not.
The Tully ad was your first gig?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yep.
I wouldn't have known that. Wow.
Yeah. Because I'm such a professional. You had no idea. You're like, this guy is polished. I don't know who taught him. He's good. But yeah, that was the first thing I did. And then we did Toyota.
Yeah.
And then we were at Borgata.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
We got paid to alcohol involved and partying at like 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
10 a.m. on a Tuesday, just chilling.
It's that's the thing, folks. It's kind of fun sometimes.
It is.
It can be a haul, but it can be really fun depending on the gig.
Yes.
But yeah, the Tully ad, the whiskey was real. We couldn't drink it, but it was real.
Yeah. That
was a good time. That ad sticks on my reel to this day. I think that was a fun one.
Yeah. McSorley, that's at McSorley's Ale House.
McSorley's, yeah.
Yeah. I remember it very vividly because it was my first one. I was like a little nervous. I didn't, they tell you to bring a couple wardrobe pieces. I probably bought like 40 things.
You packed the suitcase, right?
I brought the suitcase. I was super early. And I was because your first one, you can't redo the first impression. So I was like, I was set up with my agent. I didn't want to make her look bad. I didn't want to look bad. And, I just feel like being professional is important. So I was super professional. I was probably 45 minutes early, just sitting in the parking lot sweating.
Anyway, you've been doing stuff. And I thought the Camelback Resort spot you got to do with your family was particularly cool. That must have been like a paid vacation, right?
Yeah, that was cool. What I love about that most is it was my real family. I get a lot of racially ambiguous father roles, and which is cool. That's fine. But it's never with my family. It's never with my real wife or my little ones. So, they introduce you to your wife, and then they introduce you to these two kids, and that's your family. This one, Chris actually reached out to me directly on Instagram. I was like, hey, you want to do a shoot and bring your real family? And I was like, oh, hell, I would love to. And it was like a vacation. We actually, their grandmother went with them, not my mother, but on the other side, was there as like the chaperone entertainer in between scenes and stuff. And the kids just got like a 2-day vacation. There's a water park, there's rock climbing, there's anything and everything you want to do. And it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you ever worked with Chris Almond. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Almond? You ever worked with him before?
It's possible.
He's good. He's really good. And he's really professional. He's always got a great crew. They get the work done, but it's very lighthearted and still fun. It's not one of the stuffy ones where it's like, you know what I'm talking about, where you're just like, oh, this isn't really that fun today. You don't get that with them. So that was a blast. Yes.
So the vibe is light with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to think of like how to describe, but it's effective. The work is getting done and it's getting done at a very high clip, but it is still very light. A lot of smiles on set all the time. And what stuck out with me on that particular set is when Chris asked me to do it with my real kids. One of my daughters is younger than the other, and at the time she had just like turned 5. And I expressed to him, I was like, I'm just concerned about the girls, on set and their attention spans, and and he's like, whenever they say it's done, it's done. And I was like, if that's the rules, then perfect, because I didn't want to be forcing my kids to do something that they didn't want to do to make me happy, in the entertainment world. So it was all good with them, and I like them a lot.
Right. Yeah. They're the kids are the axis that the production revolves around.
Yeah.
It's like they have to be, happy and content, but they're at a water park, they're having fun. So the chances of them, going along with things is high.
They're pretty easy. On that one, the hardest thing on that one was the first scene we did was water in like October. Like it wasn't maybe September-ish, October.
Oh,
so it was starting to get chilly water, and they're like, "Go play in the water." And it was, but it was fun. Nonetheless, it's a lot of fun.
It's never during the appropriate season ever.
Never. They got to make the fake season look like the real season.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen models wear fur coats in July, and I've been in water parks in October, November. Yep. So I get it and I understand. But when it comes to the acting and the modeling, do you put as much effort into that as you do your stand-up, or is it more about being on stage in the comedy field?
Regretfully, days? I don't, but I want to. I put a lot of effort in the comedy. I put a lot into that. I'm a little more passionate about that. It's more of what I want to do, but we live in a world now where entertainment is everything. Your favorite musician's also selling clothes, who's also in a movie, who's also, doing late night spots with Letterman or whatever, you know what I mean, or Jimmy Fallon or someone. So we are in this world where like entertainers are doing everything. So I do like that, but I really, comedy is fun, because comedy, it's you put in the work and you get immediate gratification when they start laughing. So as soon as it comes back, and you're the writer, producer, the star, the co-star, the voiceover, it's all your show. When you do the commercials, as they tell you what to do, and they tell you how your face should look, and they tell you when your eyebrows are too excited, and when your mouth is too, closed, and the smile is too teethy and toothy, whatever it may be. Yes. Whereas comedy, that's all you.
You're the Uber producer of everything, and then when you get that, when you hear that sound, when you hear that laugh, I assume that's the drug.
Yeah, because all your work paid off when it was supposed to. That's the other thing. If they laugh when they're supposed to, that's all you want them to do, is laugh when they're supposed to. So, I do want to do more in the like training the skills that come with being an actor. Mm-hmm. Because right now I do commercials. A lot of them are voiced over. I don't have to talk a lot, and they're short little things. I would like to do more acting in like a cinematic or like television, kind of, more of a script, a back and forth. But that takes time, and I would have to put the time into that. And as of now, I haven't, but it is on my to-do list.
I understand. Might as well get into your wheelhouse. I really want to dive into this high wire act that you take on, night after night in front of people, that to me is just its own particular brand of theater. And it has my utmost respect, because some people have to do it. Like, some people go into burning buildings and some can't. Some get on a stage and dare to walk that tightrope like you do, and others can't. And I really want to get into the hows and the whys. And my first question is, how long did it take you from the time you decided to do stand-up to when you physically got on a stage?
Oh, that's a really good question. It probably was like 2 weeks.
Okay, quickly then.
I always, I'm a creative. I am a creative person. I never really showcased my creativity. And one day I was just sitting around and I was like, hey, man, you haven't done anything. This is me talking to me. I'm like, you haven't done anything. You're creative. How creative are you? You haven't done anything. So then I was like, okay, let's do something. What can you do? What are you suited to do? Can you act? The thing about acting is all actors that you see on TV or in a play or that's someone who's really good at something, but they're making it look easy. So acting looks easy. It's not. It's very challenging, you know? So I'm like, you could act, but you can't really act. Can you sing? You can't really sing. And then I was like, I kind of just went out this checklist of what I could do tomorrow, like what I could do immediately. And then it was like, oh, you could go on stage and try to make people laugh. And then I was like, yeah, you could. And then I was like, maybe you should try that. Then I had to find out where I could do it because before you're plugged in, you don't really know. You're like Googling where an open mic is, which if you know anything about comedy, that those Google searches and when the mics, and they're never up to date. So a couple of times I went places and they're like, oh, we haven't done the open mic here in 4 years. I'm like, okay. And then one night I was at Helium's open mic and I didn't get on. And then this guy said, you know, there's a place in Manayunk. It's kind of more suited for like a beginner type. And I live in Manayunk. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to a place called the Grape Room, which doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And I remember my first set. And I remember I got one laugh. And when I got that laugh, I was like, okay, you're in it now. And then I just never really stopped.
Do you remember the joke that you told?
The joke was about taking are we cursed on this podcast?
Go for it.
Taking a shit in public.
Ooh.
And how when you have to take a shit, nobody likes it. And as soon as you have to take a shit, the first thing you think of is, oh shit. And for some reason, maybe the way I said it, but when I said, oh shit, everyone laughed. And I was like, oh, that was pretty cool. And that actually wasn't where they were supposed to laugh, but they laughed.
Was it a happy accident?
Yes, happy accident, yeah. And it was the whole bit was about how like shitting in public sucks. Whoever invented public restrooms is kind of an idiot because you can like see through the cracks, you can see the feet and you can hear things. And it's like, you might as well be shitting out in the open. And then it went his anecdotal story about how there's one time I was in a bathroom and when I was like looking through the bathroom, me and this person made eye contact through the crack in the stall. which did happen. It was like, and then we like washed our hands next to each other after I already looked him dead in his eyes through the crack in the stall, and that was the bit, and it worked. Now, here's the thing about comedy that most comedians probably will tell you: your first bit, you're gonna probably do okay. The next 30, it's gonna be tough to get that magic back from the first one. So you do okay the first time and you think, hey, I'm a natural, I'm good. And then it really tests your mettle because then, you know, you try to come up with a new bit or a new set and it usually doesn't work out that well because you got to learn how to structure the joke and the timing of it and the you know, when to emphasize this word and don't say this word. And if you say too much here, you're going to give away the punchline there. You don't even know that stuff. You got lucky. A lot of us get lucky the first time. And then it tests your mettle if you really cut out for this because not getting laughs, as exciting it is to get laughs when you're supposed to get them, not getting laughs sucks. So, yeah. So it is like, do I really want to do this? And yeah, I just stuck it out and here I am.
So when you told that first shit joke, was that the moment where it crystallized for you, where you kind of thought, I know I'm funny? Was that your I think I'm funny moment?
Yeah, that was oh, so I could do that. I could definitely do this. Mm-hmm. That's I was like, oh, I could definitely do this. Yeah, I'm in. I got this, you know, which was good for the confidence. But once again, you still got to like, watching a lot of it live is very helpful. And like, you know, just pay attention to how different people talk and how a cadence can do. I could say a joke one way. I could say the exact same joke, highs and lows in the voice, pausing in the right spots, throw a little hand motions in there. And it could be a totally different outcome based on, what I'm doing. So doing it and getting around people who are better than you and saying, oh, so he does it that way. She does it this way. He does it that way. And you do it this way, and kind of finding who you're going to be. That for me, it was good to see a lot of live comedy and determine that. On TV, it's a little different, in my opinion.
Of course. So I guess it's pivotal in that first moment, that first time you go up there, for you to get some sort of laugh, to get some sort of positive feedback.
It helps a lot.
Otherwise,
like, you're a golfer, right?
I am. I just noticed that you were a golfer. I saw you smacking that shit on Instagram.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
looking
actually
you up.
after this. I'm going to 5-iron golf in Center City to go tune them up a little bit.
Dude, we got to get out.
Yeah, I'd love to play golf. Yes, please. But it's like playing golf. If you go and play golf your first time, you just go to a driving range
Mhm.
and you get a bucket of balls and you start swinging, the chance of you hitting a good shot are pretty low. But if you do, if you hit that driver, by the grace of God, you got lucky, you kept your head down, you shifted the weight, and you hit the ball right in the middle of the club face. Whether it goes 100 yards or 400 yards, that's the one that keeps you coming back, right?
Yeah.
That's when you're like, okay. So that's what it was for me. I was on stage with a metaphorical bucket of balls, which was my material. And I said the joke about shitting in public, and that was my tailor-made right between the screws. Boom, nice high, slight little fade in the middle of fairway. That was it for me. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And then just like golf, you go back with a bucket of balls and you shank them all, and it sucks. But you determine that you want to do it and you ride it out.
Now, I understand it. I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it. When I crack one 290 down the middle with a little right to left 5-degree draw, 5-yard draw,
Yeah.
better than sex.
Don't
listen to that, Ma.
It's good. I can see how you feel that way. Let's put it that way. It feels amazing.
Yeah.
Like when you hit it and you don't even have to watch it like the pros, you just pick up the tee and like that's going to be right there. Yeah. And there's people watching you and you don't have to watch the ball. That's a beautiful feeling. Yeah. So yeah, you get it. It's just, it's kind of like grooving in life. You get to get in a groove and everything's fun and happy and you're enjoying yourself.
I get it. It's you have to work at it. It doesn't come easy, but once you find your lane and your voice and your authenticity, then you're off to the races.
Then you go.
Yeah.
The other thing about comedy, and it probably happens with acting and taking classes and maybe improv people feel this way. The journey, and this is gonna sound corny as hell, you gotta love the process. Like I told you, I was just in Sayre, Pennsylvania last night. That's 3 hours, a 3.5 hour drive. I came home today. It was raining. It was pouring this morning. My wife came up with me. You gotta love every step of that, or you're gonna find a reason to not do it. You got to love the journey. So when I got into comedy, I met a guy who I'm still great friends with, and we work together to this day, named Steve Bickle. He didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. I was like, hey, what's your name? He was like, Steve. What's yours? Albert. We became friends like that. And then we started going to mics together, talking about our jokes together, going to shows and sometimes doing well together, sometimes doing bad together. But when you can love the journey, it's all fun.
That's the step number one with acting. If you don't love the journey, if you're in it just to be famous, you're going to get off the bus pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because the system is designed to knock you off the rails.
Right.
Passion and love of the craft, love of the work will ultimately see you through. And you're going to figure that out pretty quick.
Yeah. If you don't, yeah. But it's like, if you were a surgeon and you didn't love it, how many more bodies could you cut open before you're like, I'm not doing this anymore? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a nice car and a cool house, but I don't want to be cutting these people open. This is not fun for me. This is not cool. It's kind of like so anything. So, you love the journey. You find the fun when I've been on car rides with 4 comedians and just talking stupid. It's like being on a basketball bus. You're just talking dumb shit. You go there, you all do well. You have a good time. You made a few bucks. You go back. That's a lot of fun for me. So the process, the work and the outcome both still excite me. So I feel like, I'm in a good place. There's nothing that needs to change.
And it's evident in the amount of clips you have on social media and what you've done and the command you can hold with a crowd. So you've been at it for a minute. And
yeah, I like that. What you just said, I like that. Let's clip that thing up and send it out to the world. I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know it's true. Like, yeah, you do your thing, you go, just like you, right? You're an actor. You taking acting classes?
I'm still in class. I've been at this 17 years, Albert, and I'm in class.
Still learning, right. So think about that. When people want to get in it just to be famous, you're going up against a guy who's been doing this for 17 years, is still in class. If
class for me is the gym.
You're good looking and got some Instagram followers, you're going to go and be on the set of Pulp Fiction and start talking to Samuel L. Jackson. Good luck. It's like a lot of people don't even understand what kind of beast actors are. Remember the lines, the cadence, same as a comedy, moving their hands, screaming, sitting down, crying, and still remembering the lines. That's not even close to easy.
No, and I started this in my early 30s. And I didn't do this right out of the gate as a youngster. It's even harder. I had a full-time job. I worked at a big company and I was there for over a decade out of college, and I decided I'm going to completely undo my life as I know it. I'm not going to make any money for a while. I'm going to rely on my support system and go for what I think makes me happy in life.
In my opinion, that's it right there. That's everything. That's life. That's it, right? What you just said is it. I got money. I got the education. You probably had a great place. You probably had a lot of spending cash. You go play golf whenever you want, and you got happy hours and you're going, yeah, I don't enjoy this journey. This journey is not for me. I want to sit in an acting class and learn how to remember lines and hopefully do something with that. And you did it. Because I got into comedy late. I got into comedy in the early 30s. So I'm hanging out like right now. I'll go do a show. I'm 41. I'll go do a show, and I'm working with a 26-year-old with no kids. It's like we're from two different walks of life. But yeah, because I did the same thing. I'm sitting around going, I'm not having fun with this. I don't want to sell any. I was doing sales and shit. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't, and they let me. I was doing comedy and working in corporate America. And then COVID hit, and corporate America said, "Hey, we're done with you." And I said, "Blessing in disguise," because I probably would have never pulled the trigger on my own to be done with you guys. Peace and love. You go that way, I'll go that way, and then I embarked on this journey. That was what I wanted to do, just like you. And that's powerful. Yeah, that's good.
COVID really, gave everyone a time to think and say, "Hey, here's the fork in the road."
Yeah,
and one way or another, how are we going to change our lives for the better now that we have time to pause?
Right. COVID was like the shit to get off the pot moment for a lot of people. And I know a lot of people who made a lot of pivotal moves during COVID. And I'm with you. Everyone got a chance to say, I'm in this moment. What moment do I want to be in 5 years? And a lot of people start veering off, man. People were moving, selling their houses and living out of vans and doing work at remote and all kinds of stuff. And that if there's anything good that came out of that, is that some people got to reassess and re-pursue something that was better for them.
That was the time to do it, for sure.
Right.
I want to get into your methods. When it comes to your jokes, are you more observational? Do you like to tell stories? Do you prefer one over the other, or do you mix them?
The stories are always good. I like stories because if it's something that you really experienced, one, there's going to be a different level of passion when you tell the story. If I were to tell me the story of the best golf shot you ever hit, the passion will exude and you will just, it just happens. So the second thing is, no one can tell you that you are taking someone else's material, or if it's something that really happened to you. So that's why I like the stories. And I pull a lot of jokes out of life. Just being in moments, hearing something and going, that's kind of, and then just taking that and running with it. Maybe I'm at a coffee shop and something happens. I'm at a gym and just going with it. Now I have a gift and a curse because I have some ADHD. Mm-hmm. And by some, I mean a lot of ADHD. The gift to that is we are incredibly creative. We can connect things and tie things and ask questions that don't that sound crazy but then make sense. Like that's one cool special power that we have with ADHD. The negative side is we don't write any of it down. We don't write any of it down, so we can't remember the shit. But so I can take I feel like I can take a small premise and run with it and make it something bigger. Based on an experience. So I like to do things that I've actually experienced. And then I like to do a lot of questioning the norm and questioning things that we think are well and good and operating properly, and making you second guess if it's really good and well and operating properly. When it comes to the stories, are all the stories real that comedians tell, or are they acts? There's a lot of acting going on. I would assume that probably a lot of them, it's probably similar with me. It's some kernel of that is real. Now I'm just thinking about comedians I know and what they talk about and what I know about them. There's usually a kernel of truth in there. Now, how much they embellish and run with it, that's different. But there's usually some type of truth in there, which I think I think it's good because you can't say, hey, you stole that joke from Eddie Murphy. And I go, well, I was at the gas station. That's really what the guy did. What do you want me to tell you? You know what I mean? So that has to be the catalyst or the trigger in any joke. Is there has to be something in life that you experience that causes a joke to be born. Yeah. It just can't come out of thin air. It is very hard for it to come out of thin air. unless, sometimes it does. Sometimes you're daydreaming and you think to yourself, two of the most craziest things that could ever happen. And then you start talking about it to yourself and you're like, this could work. Now, here, the thing with comedy is when you think it could work, you got to try it. Open mics or a show. If you do it in a show, you better sandwich it in between two things that you know definitely are going to work. Because if you go to a show and you're going to start doing new stuff and you don't think any of it's going to work and it's not working, it's going to be long 25, 35, 45 minutes for you.
Yeah.
But if you know joke A works and joke B works, you could put A1 in between them and see what's what. Right. Or you wait till you know that they like you very much. Mm-hmm. Because then you get a bit of a pass to be shitty.
I like that. Pass to be shitty.
And plus you
can gauge the barometer and the waves
yes.
of the feedback of the crowd, and you can pad it in between stuff that works.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Now I get it.
The thing about an open mic, it's kind of like it's probably similar to a class, but they're not fun. Those are. It's usually a room full of comedians who are all thinking about what they got going on. A lot of them aren't paying attention to you at all. They're thinking about what they're going to say, how they're going to say it. You'll see people writing stuff down. And then you go up in front of mostly them. There's going to be maybe a handful of normals sprinkled in. But for the most part, it's still just comedians. And they're not really paying attention. And then if you just get like a in a room full of comedians, in a room full of normals, that's going to be a big laugh. But it takes a while to realize that. And then you're in a room full of like no one's laughing. No one's laughing at anybody's stuff. And then we're all trying to pull out what was good out of there. It's open mics suck.
No, it's the training ground. It's the laboratory, right?
Yep. It's the gym, man. It's the gym. It's the 1,000 free throws. It's the left-handed layups. It's the short putts. It's all that stuff you got to practice over and over. You got to do it somewhere. And open mics are usually pretty annoying.
Yeah, I get it. Class is the gym for me, acting class, so that when I get the FBI Law and Order feature film audition, I'm not having a panic attack.
Yeah.
And I could go there, I could set the camera up, I could do my preliminary read, send it in, and not break a sweat.
Yeah.
You got to do the reps.
I got this. But if you don't break a sweat on that because you sweat in that class, where they go, no, you got to do it again. I need more. And you get frustrated, like Whiplash, like that movie Whiplash, where that dude is just riding this guy. And it's like, he's an asshole. But then it's like, no, he's setting this guy up to be the best drummer, we've ever seen. And I have to watch that movie again because I don't really know how it ends, but I don't remember how it ends. But it's like, no, he's pushing you. You're being pushed so you don't break a sweat. So I saw a thing recently where Jason Alexander is George Costanza. So apparently this is when they started doing Seinfeld in front of the studio audience, which is kind of live, kind of not, right? They probably can stop and restart and stuff. But I don't even know. I'm going to use his stage name. When Costanza shows up, Larry David and Jerry say, how long how long would it take you to memorize this? And they give him some lines. And he's like, got like 20 minutes. And then he goes out there from first take, he like nails it. But he nails it to the pack where you see Jerry is looking at him like this. Only how Jerry Seinfeld could do. Jerry's not looking at him like that because that's what the part calls for Jerry to do. Jerry's amazed that in like 5 to 7 minutes, Costanza memorized all these lines and delivered them flawlessly in front of a live studio audience. You can't get there unless you're sweating it out in class.
Yeah, you're not doing that on day one.
No.
I get it.
Stuff.
So you got to sweat, folks.
You got to sweat.
That's a pearl of wisdom. Take me into the anatomy of a joke. Like, for example, do you find the humor immediately with, say, an observational bit, or do you have to work at finding the funny with it?
Wow, am I the first comedian on this?
Yes, you are.
You're good. I don't know if you went to a class for interviewing comedians, but you're asking some good questions here.
Good. I want to learn. The
anatomy of a joke. Well, let's see. You could do the joke where you just, like a Bill Burr kind of guy, right? Mm-hmm. He just takes something like voting. I don't know. If he has a bit on voting, he probably does. But he's really good at just pointing out how stupid and dumb certain things or certain situations are. So he tells a story. He's like, why are we doing it this way? What's the problem with it? Then you get other people, maybe like Anthony Jeselnik. A lot of misdirection. Right? You think he's going to talk about this, then he hits you with, and you're like, oh my God. And then you find yourself laughing at something you maybe not even wanted to be laughing at. For me, I like to kind of try to find the in-between. I usually like to set up with something that you think is going to make you uncomfortable. And then if all goes as planned, by the end of it, you're laughing at something that you didn't think you'd be laughing at. That's really what I want to do. I like, so there's a little misdirection there. There's a little storytelling in there, but that's really what I want. I want when I come out with the premise, you get tight and go, oh no, roll your eyes internally, maybe look at your friend. And then 90 seconds later, you're smacking your friend going, oh shit, that was pretty good. That's what I like. I like when you think you're not going to like me or you're not going to like what I'm about to say. And then when the punchlines start rolling in the tags, you're laughing all the way through. That's what I like. That's what makes me happy. So I'm not going to tell you a joke, but I'll just give you insight. So I was in Sayre, Pennsylvania last night. Sayre, Pennsylvania is a very homogenous group of people. A lot of Caucasians. Good Caucasians, but Caucasian nonetheless. And I said then that I told them before that we were going to talk about some pride and we are going to talk about some Juneteenth. So once again, Sayre, Pennsylvania. Okay, I shouldn't say Sayre, Pennsylvania. Sometimes in certain areas, certain things you just kind of don't talk about, right? I go into the Juneteenth joke, and it's essentially, I'm going to have to give up my joke a little bit here, but nonetheless, it's that then this happens. Juneteenth is a federal holiday. My gym has a thing on federal holidays where the staffing is a little less. So I went to go swim laps at the gym on Juneteenth, but because they were short-staffed due to the federal holiday, I couldn't go swimming because the pool was closed. So the lady says to me, after she explains all that, I'm looking at her like pretty much saying with my face, this makes no sense. She says to me, pretty much, you can't go swimming because today is Juneteenth. And then I said, I don't think that's how it's supposed to work on Juneteenth. I think if anything, I should maybe be able to swim a little longer than everybody else, or maybe even have the pool to myself because it's Juneteenth. That's making light of something. So when I said Juneteenth, everyone was like, here he's going to get on this high horse about, racial tensions and DEI and all this stuff. And here we go. And you could feel it. And then when I hit him with I don't think it's supposed to work that way. I should be able to have the pool long. They all, they start laughing.
Yeah. So it's like a plot twist.
The twist. And then I took something that, it's a hot button. DEI, Juneteenth, is Trump going to roll it back? Is it still going to be hot? Are there too many working holidays? That's a lightning rod at this point. And then by the end of it, you're laughing at some stupid comedian who just wanted to swim laps. Because it ends with I'm not for DEI either if I can't swim some fucking laps. You know what I mean? And then all the barriers are broken down and it's laughter. But I also think that is the beauty of comedy and the beauty of laughter is that when we're all laughing, we're all talking the same language. When we're all laughing, we're all on the same page. And that is what's good. And my dad reminds me all the time how important it is for people to be able to release, relax, and laugh. That's my answer. I don't even know if I answered your question, but that's my answer.
I'm going to call you Professor Albert from now on.
I like that.
But along those lines of that joke you just told, can a joke go too far, or are there subjects where you just go, no, I'm not going there?
For me, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's subjects. I'll go places in certain places. Right? Like I'm a chameleon. I can be a chameleon. I'm racially ambiguous. I grew up in the heart of Black culture and I grew up in the heart of white culture. I'm good at weaving in and out and reading people and knowing. So I got jokes I'm going to do in room A that you'll never hear in room B. I got jokes that I can do in both. I got jokes I do in room B that I'll never do in room A. And then I got things where I'm just not touching them at all. I'm just going to leave that alone. One, a lot of people are going to do jokes on it. So two, I don't want to make people feel shitty. So, sometimes this usually happens with newer comedians. They may want to do like an abortion joke, right? And people do abortion jokes, and good comedians can do an abortion joke and make the whole room laugh. Mm-hmm. Shitty comedians will do an abortion joke. It'll be callous. It'll be hurting people. It's just like, that wasn't a good idea. Maybe you weren't skilled enough. Maybe you just wrote a poor joke. Maybe should have stayed away from the abortion shit because you're not good enough to get away with that. Right now, Anthony Jeselnik, who I do like as a comedian very much, he's got a clip that's going viral where he says comedy is getting away with it. And the people who blame it on the crowd, it's really that you just didn't do a good enough job of bringing out the humor. So you can't blame the crowd. It's you. It's you.
That was my next question. Can you say anything and it just comes down to whether the crowd gets it or not, or are there lines and how you frame a controversial topic?
I think it's how you frame. I think it depends on where you are. Depends on how the set's going. You'll see that a lot. A comedian will be crushing. And then they go, okay, I got to try this new one on you guys. Essentially what that means is I was going to stay away from this, but you guys seem to like me. We're on the same page. So I'm going to take it there and let's see what I can get away with. Yeah, that happens. And I think it's, just, everything's a little different. You got to frame it. And it really comes down to if they like you. Because I know people that are likable on stage and they can get away with a lot more. Some people are unlikable on stage. If I say a joke about anything and you take too hard on one side, you do have to realize that 50% of that room is not going to agree with you. So if you do an abortion joke and it comes out that pro-life is what it should be, and if you're not pro-life, you're an asshole, just be prepared that 46 to 54% of that room is not on your side. So, do you want to do something that right off the rip, half the room is going to be on that side of the fence? If you're good enough to bring them all to this side of the fence, then do it. But it's tough.
Does that give like a comedian like Seinfeld more longevity and leeway because he doesn't go for hardline stuff and he's clean and he's more about wit?
Well, being clean helps a ton. Wit is this, when you use the word wit to describe a comedian, you're describing a really good joke writer. Someone who's just good. There was a gentleman on a show last night by the name of Chip Chantry. Phenomenal joke. Very good joke writer. I think he's clean. He doesn't curse. So he's clean. So very Seinfeld like. If he's not clean, he's very close to clean. But he just gives you these jokes where he doesn't have to curse and it's witty. And yes, Seinfeld's a very witty comedian. And I like his stuff. I do like his stuff. Some people aren't witty. They're shocky, right? They're shocky. They say something turn you off, or maybe cursing a lot to get you to feel a certain way. But if you can do it clean and witty, you will be around for a really long time. Because you can always be on cable. You can always go to Conan. You can always go to Fallon. You can always do the late night stuff. You can always go to a cruise ship. You can always go to a country club. I get a lot of questions. Hey, can you work clean? The answer is yes. Do I want to work clean? No, because I'm a cursor. I curse in life. So it's just who I am. I will do it, but it's not really what I do. But if you can work clean, you can probably work 30% more than everyone else because you have the ability to do it without offending anyone verbally just by saying motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. So when it comes to the joke, are you constantly revising jokes, or does a joke have a definite baking point and then it's on the shelf, it's there, and then it's done? Or can a joke always be revised?
Could always be worked. More, less, woven in. Like some guys, right? Like crowd work is a big deal right now, right? Because of the internet, crowd work is what everybody wants, right? Even when you go to the show, people want to be spoken to because that's what they see when they're looking at their phones, when they're going to the bathroom. You can use crowd work with a previously established joke if you got the chops for it, right? So if I have a kid joke and some lady says something and I say, "You're acting like a child," this is shit, and do you have kids? You strike me as someone who's, and next thing you know, now I'm having a kid conversation with this person. But I got a nice kid joke in the hopper. So, she thinks we're bantering, and then boom, I bring this thing out. And it's like, oh, wow, he's an amazing crowd work. That could just be a joke that existed that was reworked to sound like it was crowd work, and weave into that. Or it weaves into another joke, or it weaves into a callback. Or, it's always being worked, in my opinion. Some people have quick hitters that they are what they are. Dude walks into a bar, boom, 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 and then they move on. But I think you should always be kind of weaving in and out and working them and reworking them. Just practice them. Like you go to the acting class. You practice your stuff. You work on it. Sometimes guys write a joke, gals write a joke. They never revisit it. That's just what it is. I revisit them. Or if I write a joke and I go, that kind of sounds like the one you have about hold on. I may have just added 6 minutes of material to a pre-existing joke because they weave in and out of each other. So that little bit that was 4 minutes is now 8 minutes because I just added another joke to it, but I made it groove. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
Yeah.
And as far as the crowd work goes, for you, would you say that's a more refined skill than just joke telling?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not a huge crowd work guy. Some people are great, are huge crowd work people, and they're really, really good at it. Here's my thing with crowd work. I sometimes, a lot of times crowd work, you kind of got to like come at someone or like pick on someone a little bit. I don't like to pick on people. I don't like to be like, there's a story behind why I don't like to do that, but I don't like to pick on people. So I'll do crowd work if we're like laughing together, or if I just need to maybe like control the crowd or bring them in, or maybe someone's kind of chatty, so I put them on the spot a little bit, let them talk, and that's enough for them to shut up. But I'm not a big like, who told you to wear the red shirt tonight? What are you, a matador? I don't do that stuff because I don't want to alienate people who paid to come see me, who bought tickets, who think they like me, and then I make them not like me. Some people don't care. I don't want to do that.
I was going to say, like, in terms of the crowd work, that can be weaved into, say, someone who's not necessarily a heckler, but someone who's maybe a little drunk and is being a little bit of a blowhard. Yeah. And if they're having, you could tell they're having a good time. They're just being a little vocal.
Yes.
I'm sure that's where you can lead into, you know, dabbing or picking with someone a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Correct.
Okay.
You got a drunk person who's maybe No. You're never in trouble for laughing too loud, so I can't say that. Maybe they're like over explaining the joke to the girl next to them, or I say girl because unfortunately it happens with women more than men, in my opinion. Or maybe they're going. You'd say a joke and then they go, I was like Cindy on Tuesday when it was margarita day at the office, and you're like, all right, relax. Right. And then maybe you go, you got a lot. So what's going on with you? But if it's fun, to me, it's a lot different than just like picking on a human. I don't like to do that. I don't like to make people feel that way. And if I do hit some crowd work, it's quick and it's da-da-da, and then I move on. I don't put a lot of time and effort into that. I think that crowd works can be a bit overdone, if I'm being honest. So I let the crowd work people be the crowd work people. I'll be the joke writer and the storyteller, and let the crowd work people work the crowds.
Whatever feedback other than laughter that you're getting from the crowd, it comes down to attitude. If they're having a good time or if they're being mean. That being said, when it comes to the hecklers, are you suave or are you savage?
Only been heckled maybe once or twice. I don't get heckled. I have not got heckled, knock on wood. This is a metal table, but we'll give it a shot. I haven't been heckled much. The last time I was heckled, I had to ask people to shut the fuck up. And it buried me. It put me in a deeper hole. I wasn't able to get out of it. Didn't really work out well. Then the guy who came up after me, he did about 4 minutes on me on stage, getting angry at them and then asking them to shut the fuck up, all that stuff. If you're in a club, all you got to do is be like, security, and they're gone. That's probably the best way to do it, unless you want that smoke, unless you want to play heckle games and go back, but you better not lose. You better not lose. You got the mic, you're in control. If you're not good at like a one-on-one going back and forth, you can't lose at your own show. I mean, I guess you can. It's not a good idea to lose at your own show. That's what, and because I don't really like to pick on people, I don't really go at people, because if they start like going at me in return and I got to go back at you, I'm not good at that. I don't like to pick on people. So it just doesn't make sense. So I try to I want the crowd to be quiet while I'm working, and then we can talk after the show if you like. That's ideal for me.
I understand. I was in a 1,500 seat room where a famous actor lost the room only because he didn't have an hour of material. He had 30 minutes of material, and at the 30-minute mark, he started doing Q&A.
Oh, man.
With primarily the first two rows.
He was doing a set. Or he
had an hour set.
So he's a comedian / actor.
Yes.
Okay.
And
he 60 minutes.
Supposed to do 60 minutes. He did 30, and then he started doing Q&A with the people in the first two rows of a 60-row house. And you could hear people start groaning. You could hear someone yell, "This is not what we paid for." And he heard that and he said, "I don't care. The door's right behind you. I got paid." I thought, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he lost me right then and there. I lost all respect for this guy.
That was, I wouldn't say that to anybody.
Yeah, that's cruel. That's really cruel.
It is. Fuck you, I got paid. I mean, that's essentially what he said. Now, see, I think that I don't know who the person was, and I'm not going to ask you who it was, and it doesn't sound like you plan on saying who that person was anyway, which is A-okay. What happens now in the game, and you said actor, and I kind of tapped on it earlier, is now comedians, our actors, are selling toothpaste, are on ESPN, right? Like, I've turned on ESPN and seen Kevin Hart sitting there. What fucking sport does he play? He's an entertainer. Now, entertaining is a very broad description of what you do. And when you get to, and so someone could go and be an entertainer or an actor. I got 6 million Instagram followers. People like me. The guy says, you want to tell jokes? Sure. I'm sure that, let's just say Brad Pitt. If Brad Pitt called Helium Comedy Club right now and said, hey, I'd like to come in there and do it, they'd probably be like, oh, absolutely, because they know he's going to sell tickets. Once they get in there, is he going to be able to keep their attention for a full hour? That's really the question, right? Now you get the TikTokers, the Instagram people. They're doing sketches. They're doing pranks that are probably not even really pranks. Who really knows? And they're popular. And now you go, oh, you're so-and-so from the internet. You got 6 million followers. Oh, you'll sell out. Come to our club. But they don't have an hour of working comedian material and chops. And then you run into problems, 100%. And a lot of those guys, once they do like their first like tour or their first go around, they usually don't get a second one because they're not really that great. They're not that good. I've seen the TikTokers start doing the TikTok dance on the stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you're like, I don't think these people, they already saw this. I don't think they want to see it again, but that's.
You got to perform longer than the length of a TikTok video. Hello.
Yes. Yeah. See, now telling someone I already got paid, fuck you. That's like,
yeah,
that's a ballsy move. I don't know how famous this actor was, but that person lost fans.
Now, this person's a name. He lost me as a fan. I'll tell you that right now. I was shocked.
And you're not the only one. You're not an outlier. You're the norm because people paid money. There was a monetary exchange. Once that happens, you owe someone a service. And when someone says it's not what I paid for, he probably could have said, you know what, you're right. You didn't pay. And if you didn't, he could have said, well, what did you pay for? He could have engaged with that person, or she, I don't even know who it was. Could have engaged with that person and done something with that.
It came down to laziness, Albert. I just think it was just, like I'm busy. I'm doing this because maybe I'm just going to take the $100,000 and phone it in. Yeah. Whatever the case may be, whatever they're getting paid. It just struck me as laziness on the performer's part.
Yeah. Could have. Yeah. Why not? I like that answer. Laziness. And maybe some lack of talent. I mean, let me ask you this. How long was this celebrity actor, how long were they in the comedy game?
A decade.
Oh, wow.
10 to 15 years.
Oh, okay. Then lazy.
Yeah, this guy's been around for at least 15 years.
Oh, man. That doesn't sound very cool of that person.
No, I was looking forward to it, and then like the rug got just slipped out from under.
Did anyone get up and leave when he said that?
I couldn't tell because I was in the front row. I was with a date in the front row, and I thought, all right, I spent a little extra money on StubHub, and like I wanted to make an impression. I'm like, this is going to be good. And
it's kind of like, well, the NBA. I'm a sports guy to an extent. It's like the NBA, right? I remember Kobe Bryant saying this. Rest in peace. He was like, what if someone worked 3 weeks and saved all the money they could so them and their son could come and watch me play basketball? And I decided I'm going to not play. That happened to me once. I was a big Kevin Garnett fan. He played for the Celtics. The girl I was dating at the time got us tickets to the Celtics. It was Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, KG, the first big three that was assembled in the NBA. I just wanted to see the big ticket Kevin Garnett. I got there and he wasn't there. Now, he was sick. He wasn't taking rest because he was not the type of dude to take rest. But now in the NBA, it's not uncommon for the best player in the world to decide, I'm not playing tonight. I'm going to rest. Somebody is heartbroken because of that. That wasn't that cool if you ask me. But it sounds like that person's pretty successful if they're making $100,000 in 1,500 people's room. And
yeah, it's not just the stand-up for this individual. It's TV shows, it's movies, it's specials. So there's a lot of, irons in the fire.
Even if they answered with, well, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I've been on the road for 3 weeks. Maybe a family member, I don't know. Maybe they could have just explained that to the person. People would have been like, oh, okay, we get it. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But to add fuel, I think you're fueling the fire when you say, screw you, I already been paid. You can leave.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly how it went down. It was just flat out arrogance.
Yeah, that's not
and cool. Everyone in that room felt that they were shortchanged. Anyway, I know that's not you. You would never.
I wouldn't let someone know.
No. But since we're on the valley of these emotions, let's get into bombing. What's it feel like to hit that point? And how do you come out of it?
It's not as bad as you think after you get good at it. After you get good at bombing. You have to understand that, golf. You're gonna shank a shot. You're gonna hit a slice into the woods. A ball's gonna land in the water. You're gonna skull one over the green. It's gonna happen. Once you realize that, it's like this is part of it too. What I like to do is, well, we all like to avoid bombing. If you bomb or if a joke bombs, I think you should call yourself out and then hit him with one that you know is going to work 100%. That's what I would do. That's what I do when it happens. Now, if you're just out there bombing for 40 minutes, that's tough. That's really, really tough. But it's what it is. The show's got to go on, you know? Do you do any live theater?
I haven't done theater since college, I'm ashamed to say.
Okay.
The agents just keep me wrapped up in camera work.
In television and stuff.
Yeah, it's just quicker.
Yeah. So when you were doing theater though, right? Someone's going to forget their lines, right? Someone's voice is going to crack. One of the prop guys is going to fuck up and the spotlight's going to hit over here when it's supposed to be over here. The show's got to go on. You don't all get to stop and look at each other and be like, oh, well, thanks, Chuck. You know what I mean? You gotta figure it out. It's the same thing. You got to figure it out. Okay, I didn't like that. Maybe you ask them, what did you like about that? You guys a big angel crowd here? You know what I mean? And they'll probably laugh at that. Let's say you were picking on leprechauns. I don't know. And they didn't laugh. You go, let me guess, big leprechaun community here in Sarah, Pennsylvania. They'll probably laugh at that. And then you go, okay, lost you on the leprechaun stuff. Let's, make light of it. I think if you bomb and you just try to act like it didn't happen, I think it gets worse. I think it gets worse.
It's like the onus is on you. You got to put the blame on yourself. And that kind of softens the blow.
Yeah. An entertainer, you still got to find the entertainment in the lack of entertainment. Drink a little, go take a drink, take another drink, ground yourself a little bit and come out, emerge, come out and do something better, you know? And you also, you have to know what's going to happen at something. Not everything's going to work all the time.
Did you ever bomb so bad, or did you ever have a series of off nights where you questioned what you were doing, or did you ever contemplate quitting?
Yeah, I have. I was actually just talking to a friend. The show where I asked everyone, I was like, you guys got to shut the fuck up. That one, that was like a 9-minute, I was just bombing and bombing and bombing. So what happened, it wasn't, sometimes comedians use the word comedy conducive, right? A comedy conducive room. You ever been to a bar and you're sitting there eating chicken wings with your friends, maybe drink a little Tullamore Dew with a buddy of yours? And next thing you know, you see someone setting up speakers and you go, oh, I guess I got some live music here tonight. That's pretty cool. And here you are watching the Phillies game. And then you hear some guy go, okay, the sign up list is out. And next thing you know, you're in a comedy show that you didn't even want to be in. I don't want to be here. That's not a comedy conducive room. No one came here to see comedy. I want to see that. So we did a show. It had very high ceilings, which for comedy, it's tough because all the laughter goes up. So you can't even hear if people are laughing. Started late, not a good thing. And people were drinking while they were waiting for it to start. Mm-hmm. Like an hour of just go get another drink. We'll give you more to drink. We'll give you more to drink. By the time I got up there, and I wasn't even the headliner, I was just on the show. By the time I got up there, they were annoyed. It was hot in there and they were drunk. Not comedy conducive. Now, I'm going to keep it real with you because with that said, the person who went up after me, they did well. So it was still me. If it's not comedy conducive, it's going to be tough because people don't want comedy just sprung on them. And that happens a lot. Like if there's a show at like a pub or like what do they call it? Like a brewery or a goddamn library. Like people do for comedy in weird places. And if the people there don't want it, it's not going to work out well.
So when you take the temperature of the room, when you know the weather in that room where it's hot, it's drunk, the ceilings are high, will you consciously tailor your set to the stuff that you know works in those environments or no?
Yes. And now, and you grow a little bit. After that experience, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. I had to eat that shit so I didn't have to eat any more shit in that situation. Now, yeah, if I was in that situation where they were drunk and hot and the show started, what I would do now is I would really just know that the written jokes that I want to say that have a certain cadence and a delivery and the ones that you got to listen to, and I would kick those out, get rid of those. Don't give them wordy jokes where they have to remember that the guy was wearing a blue shirt because they're not going to remember that. Give them quick, make them laugh, talk to them a little bit, say the next one. That's what I would do if I could go back. I can't go back, but I do relive that bomb at least 3 times a day. I think about that all the time.
Do the bomb moments take up more space in your head than the successes, than the belly laughs?
That's a good question. No, because there's times when I'll just listen to the laughs of a tape and I'm like, that was a kill. You were killing that night. And that feels good. Just like that first laugh I told you, just like this shitting in the stall, that laugh, it was an addiction. And when you hear them laugh again, you're like, you were on, man. You no, they can't say you're not good. No one can say that you didn't do well that night because you killed it. And yeah, it's like golf. You can't be angry at yourself for getting a bogey, and then you get a birdie, and you're like, yeah, it's cool. It's like, no, you were crying. You threw 3 clubs when you got a bogey. Now you get a birdie, and your only reaction is, yeah, it's cool. You better react just the same. So yes, when I do well, I like to enjoy doing well, and I remind myself the times I did well. And that does take more real estate than the times I did poorly.
You got to accentuate the positive. Why on earth would you be performing in fear of that emotion again? Right. It's going to come at some point. You're going to have a down moment, and you go, okay, just like the bogey, on to the next hole, on to the next shot, on to the next joke.
Yep. That's what it is. Crowds are not that mean and not that rough. I know a lot. Sometimes on the internet, I think that people post things and where the crowd is like mean or tough crowd. That's not really the norm. A lot of comedy shows are a Friday night, guy takes out his lady. They already had their dinner. They wore maybe slightly nicer set of clothes. You know, they're nicer outfits. The guy's a gentleman. He pulls out the chair for his lady. They valeted the car. They're there to have fun. So it's not like you have to like do too much. They already want to have fun. If you back to like the people who didn't know they were going to be at a comedy show, they don't want to have that fun. They went out to go get beer and chicken with their friends. And now they're at a comedy show. They didn't want that. But the shows that are at club, they wanted this. They got a babysitter for this. So let's go. Which is nothing about that guy who was like, I already got paid, fuck you.
Yeah.
That could have been someone's date night. The babysitter, $100-something. The hotel room, $100-something. Valeted car, $60. The dinner, $300. The tickets, $80. And now you're going to tell them I got paid, fuck you? That's all right.
Maybe that's what happens when you're really living high off the hog and everything's really clicking. You lose respect for the audience and you just don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. But if people are paying to hear you perform, they want you to kill, right?
Yeah, they want to
laugh. That's the point.
Yeah, no one's like, hey, I hope Albert does okay tonight.
There's nothing worse than seeing someone bomb and bomb and bomb and not carry because you feel like you're not getting what you paid for.
Yeah, you want this guy to crush it. You want that energy. You want those good jokes.
Yes.
So it's not that hard to get them when they want to go. But I think you do, you got to be respectful of people. It's a night for them. It's their night out. Some couples go out once a month. So that's 1 out of 30 days. They gave you, the comedian, the 1 out of 30. Don't be like, try your hardest, man. Give them a show, my opinion. Give them a show.
It's all about service, right?
Yeah, you're right.
When it comes to like, you see, I guess it's easy to see comedians who have specials, the Netflix special, a series, whatever, what have you. And that can be defined as stereotypical success. And then you have your lane, you have your brand of comedy. Do you find yourself having to strike a balance between being your authentic self on stage and people who are trying, as opposed to trying to make it, quote unquote, in the business?
Yeah.
In other words, do you feel yourself ever feeling like you have to compromise in order to gain some level of success?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of kind of every. It's kind of like when you go to a job interview, right? And you're sitting there talking to the person who you want to hire you and pay you really good money and give you a company car or whatever they do. In that interview, you're talking a little differently, maybe holding your hands a little differently, nodding your head, maybe writing things down. You're selling a little bit. There's a little bit of that goes on in this as well. You're doing a show with a bunch of slightly older people. Let's just take older people. We don't even know what race and gender they are. They're just older. The Uber jokes, they don't take Ubers. Older people don't take Uber. I don't know if you know that. So and they don't online date either.
No.
All right. And they barely have sex. So if your material is online dating, Uber, and fucking, you may want to switch that up real quick and start talking about your kids. Because they have kids and they probably have grandkids. So you can get them with the kid stuff, but anyone here online dating? They don't even have smartphones, So yeah, you got to know who you're talking to. Same when you do a college. Now, when you do a college room, they do have Uber. They do online date. What they don't have is 401ks, financial issues, medical issues. They don't have that. And I'm 41. I don't have that either, but I can't talk to a 25-year-old like I talk to a 65-year-old. I can't do that. And I can't talk to them like I talk to a 40-year-old. So you'll see a lot of comedians like looking at the crowd, looking who's walking in. Are there a lot of couples in here? Are there a lot of single people in here? Are they older? Are they younger? Oh, these guys look like a bunch of, laborers. They work with their hands. That's going to start to affect what you're going to say, because you don't give the lumberjack the online, the Tinder bid, because he probably not a Tinder guy. You know what I mean? He's maybe more of a farmers only kind of joke, not maybe not a Tinder, but you gotta like acquiesce. And I think that you do that until you find your crowd, till you find your people. Like, let's take Joe Rogan, for example. Whether you think he's funny or not, he has a type. He has the Brogan type. You know what I mean? Like, we know who his people are. We know who Shane Gillis's people are. Mm-hmm. We know who Chris Rock's people are. But once you get your voice and people start following you, then you can do more of who you are because you have your following. But when you're going through, you're finding your follower, you're finding the people who are going to like you. So you do have to kind of bend until you get to a certain point. Then it's like, you know what you came here for. You know what you're going to get. And I don't have to change for you because I am now the show. I'm the star. I don't have to change. You don't like me, you may have to go see someone else because this is how I do my thing. Right now, I'm at the point of getting my true following. And then I'm going to, then that'll probably kind of change how I do things once I really establish who I am in the following. But you are always kind of chameleoning. I don't even know if that's a word, but being a chameleon, and you're bending a little bit at all times because you do have to sell tickets. People do have to like you. They do have to want to follow you on social media. They want to like your clips and tell their friends about you. So you got to give them a product that does that. And everyone's a little different.
All that being said, have you found your lane? Have you found your definitive brand?
I'm getting there. So what I got is, I'm mixed. I'm racially ambiguous to some people. My dad is Jewish. My mother is a Black woman. And here I am. I live in Harlem, New York. I live in Sayre, Pennsylvania. I'm a father of children that are mixed and racially ambiguous. That's kind of where I am. And I have very severe ADHD. So that's kind of what I cover. That's kind of where I live. So what I'm trying to do is kind of be a voice for the racially ambiguous father. Not just specifically that, but the racially ambiguous, the fathers, the fathers who are raising children outside of wedlock. I talked about this earlier, but like, I'm a very unique. I've experienced racism from everybody, being ambiguous. So I do talk about I don't talk about it in like an angry way. I try to make light of it because for a long portion of my life, it's something that I had to deal with from a lot of different directions. I can't change it, but I can find the humor in it. And I could tell you about it. So that's kind of where I'm going, like kind of in that direction. And it may change. It may not. I don't know. It may change. It may not change. But right now, that's what I'm working. And we'll see how it lands.
So far, so good, right?
Yeah. So far, it's working out pretty well. Yeah.
You mentioned Rogan. You mentioned Gillis. Who were your favorite comedians growing up, and who do you like now?
Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was, I guess he was probably 20 something when I first heard him. And I thought he was amazing then. I still think he's really good now. I think comedy's changed between now and then. So you may not get performances like that anymore with the invention of the internet, or the growth of the internet, I should say. Gillis, I like Gillis, obviously. He has very strong roots in Philadelphia. And then the tires is being shot out this way when they do that. What's John Mulaney, like Anthony Jeselnik, Ari Spears. There's a lot of really good comedians, and there's something for everyone out there. That's what's really cool about it, is you just there's something for you. You just got to find it. And then once you find who you like, then comedy is kind of like a pyramid scheme. Like you find who you like, and then they have like these people that are kind of like their understudies or like part of like their clique or what have you. And then you just kind of branch off, and it's really cool in that respect. If you take someone like if you took Joe Rogan, he's got like Mark Norman's one of his buddies, Shane Gillis is one of his buddies, and then they have guys that are kind of beneath them and like part of like their little bubble or their tree, and then they have those people have people who are kind of under them, and it's all this interconnectedness kind of woven in. Yeah, it's just kind of how it pans out. So I apologize. I felt like I was rambling a lot, so I stopped talking abruptly. But
you don't have to abruptly stop. This is all education, dude. I love it.
I'm educated. There you go. You know, one of the most challenging things is like when you come up with a bit or an idea, you got to deliver it with word efficiency. Have you ever heard, I'm sure you ever hear a comedian set up a joke and it's like, I'm already lost. You're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Are we in the store? Are we out of the store? Do you work there? Do you not work there? Wait, so you got to like find what you want to say and you got to cut that down into crisp, boom, boom, boom. Right now I'm trying to work on this joke. I don't even know if it'll ever be a joke, but the inflation of beauty, of you know, the beauty standards, what they used to be and what you have to do now to be beautiful, and what beautiful people used to be able to get away with, and now what beautiful people are doing. And it's essentially like, kind of plays off of like how if you took an OnlyFans model right now who has to like get naked, have sex, do all this kind of stuff, and you just put that person back like 30 years, they wouldn't have had to do anything close to what they have to do now to be popular or famous or what have you.
Right.
That's the premise of it. It's hard to like pull that out and really make that work because it is wordy and it is like, and it's this challenge that I've been working on this thing for like 2 months, and I think I'm probably gonna throw it away because it's not working well. I haven't even got myself fluid enough with it to say it on stage. But the hard part is taking stuff like that, cutting it down, but still making it work, and everyone understands exactly where you're going with it. That's when it starts to get really, really challenging. But it's a challenge that I enjoy. It's fun. It's a fun challenge, you know?
It's like you have to keep the fish on the hook.
Yep. And while you're reeling them in, they got to still want that worm, you know, and you're like, so anyway, you know, and it's like, yeah, and this happened. But they have to be on board with you all the way. Like a witty joke writer, when they get heckled, it really fucks with them because the words are so important and where they're placed. And if I'm getting ready to let you know something very important about this story and someone yells something out, or they're being really loud over there and the person over here can't pick that up, it could really fuck up the joke. So that's, you know, word economy. A lot of people, you know, a guy by the name of Barry Katz, word economy. Do your jokes have word economy? Can you say them? Are there any wasted words? Is there, you know, sometimes there's phrases where you go, and then what happened? You may not even take that out. Take that out. They know what, just say the other part. Now you get good at that when you start cutting up clips to put them on the internet. You find where all the fat is on a joke.
So do you write every day or do you just wait for inspiration to strike?
I'm writing right now, brother. This
Okay.
is the gift of the ADHD. I'm writing. I'm writing in here. Now here's the curse of the ADHD. I'll think of a killer and I'll lose it. That happens to me all the time. But I am always writing, and sometimes I'll go, hang on 1 second, and I grab my phone, and that's it. That's all I got to do because I don't want to forget this because it's good. But I'm always writing. I'm living in comedy. I'm seeing an interaction. I take my dog to the vet. I'm paying attention. I go to Giant to get Whole Foods, whatever. I'm paying attention because something in there is going to be good. Am I going to be able to capture it? And can I run with it? I do like sitting down and writing at very specific times. The most creative I am, I call it the dream juice. When I wake up in the morning, there's still a little dream juice in there. You know, that stuff that, you know, your dreams are wacky as shit. And I feel like that gives creativity. And I feel like when I'm driving places first thing in the morning, there's a lot of creativity coming out. I also like when it's first thing in the morning, cup of coffee, no one else is awake. It's dark, turning to light. That is a really sweet spot for me to write jokes. So I like sitting down and writing in those moments. Other than that, I'm on the fly. I'm at the grocery store, I'm at the vet, I'm at the golf course, I'm in the pro shop, I'm swimming at the gym, I'm lifting weights over here, and I'm just pulling things out of life. That's a process, baby.
I get it totally. It's the early morning is beautiful for me too. I find my meditations are more potent in like the 4 to 5 a.m. hour when the world is still and your mind isn't adulterated by the events of the day.
Yeah. Now, see, you worded that. The word economy right there. Your mind isn't adulterated. That was fucking good. See, you already got it. I'm like, nobody's awake to bother you. He's like, your mind isn't adulterated. Wow, that's good.
You made my day. Oh my God.
That's good. That's good word economy right there.
That's prep
man.
school
like
there,
that.
boss. That's prep
school. Yeah, that is and like the coffee, and I like to write. Some people type. I want to hear, this is going to sound crazy. I like hearing a pencil scribe on paper.
Interesting.
It's got to be the right paper or a good pen where you can hear like the.
What do they call that? ASMR?
Yeah. I
Okay.
like it.
The sound, the satisfying sound.
Yeah. And I like the feel. I have notebooks that are good paper. I don't like just like a loose leaf of, here. No, I like a notebook that's kind of heavy, paper that's thick, a good pen. I usually write with the same pen. So I used to write with pencil because I like the way, but then it rubs off. But it's a good pen where the ink flows, and when you look at it, it's aesthetically pleasing to your eye, and you can hear it's an experience. Mix that with some good coffee and the sun coming up and the dream juice. You can get some good material.
No, I love it. I love it. We're thinking along the same lines, and we're both we find inspiration
Yeah, man.
and peace in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's as nature intended.
Yeah, and you're going to get most of your creativity when your mind is at peace. That was a really good thing you said, at peace. It's hard to write a joke when you're stressed. It's hard to make yourself laugh while you're stressed. Now, you can laugh at the fact that you were stressed, and you can find humor in it after the fact. But if your brain is like, I got to pick this up, I got to do this, I got to swing by here, I got to make sure I submit that, good luck writing a joke. All that bandwidth is being used up for something else.
Bill Murray once said, the more relaxed you are, the better you are at everything.
Everything.
We
Golf.
have to work at being relaxed.
Great example, golf.
Yes.
You relax that grip, oh baby. You start getting tight, now you're snap hooking them, it's shit. Relax. Everything. Shake it out. And it's going to be better. And the same with your brain, 100%.
Yeah, you take your calculations, you see your distance, you check the wind, you look at the lie and the topography of the land, and then when you're over that ball, you make your decision on how you're going to hit your shot, and then you let it go and let your body
it fly,
do
baby.
it.
Don't try to steer the golf ball. Don't try to hit it too hard. Don't try to hit. You made your decision. Boom. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see what
exactly.
happens. But yeah, I'm with you on that. You got to keep it low stress. Positivity doesn't usually come from high stress situations.
No, never.
Or maybe it's a high stress situation, but when you allow yourself to be high stressed, you're not a good decision maker.
But when it comes to stress, is there stress in the joke writing process given what I'm assuming is the changes in comedy in recent years in terms of our audiences more sensitive?
Yeah.
And is it harder to get away with stuff?
Yeah. I never want to be like someone to turn someone off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be someone to make someone, and that is hard. It's on my Instagram. I had an abortion joke. It's not really about abortion, but it's, and it was one of those things where I wanted to make people uncomfortable, and then I wanted to make them laugh. And it goes over well. It's not a bad joke. And I'm not like really picking on anyone specific, but you gotta you don't want to go viral for being a shithead on stage and saying something that makes half the people hate you. I don't. Now, some people say viral is viral, baby, and you accept it for what it is. I don't want to be someone who people go, oh, that guy makes me fucking nauseous. I hate that dude. And I was actually talking to my wife. Maybe that's holding me back. Maybe you need to do what you do and be who you are. And then the people who like you, and the people who don't like you. And that's what it is. And maybe sometimes I feel like maybe I'm trying to make all the people happy all the time. And you ain't going to do that. You can't do that. So, that's one of those things you assess as you're doing it. Am I trying to be too friendly? Do I need more of an edge? Do people need to, maybe some of these people need to not like me, and the people who do like me are going to like me even more. We were just having that conversation on the car ride home from Sayre, me and my wife. I don't know what the answer is.
Because we're still in a mode, or I'm guessing you're still in a mode of where you're trying to gain followers and trying to grow your success. Therefore, there comes that compromise.
Right.
Of, I have my lane, but can I weave a bit? If it goes against my thing.
Can I get you in my lane? Can I say something kind of good where you want to get in this lane with me? And can I say something that makes you want to come in this lane with me? That way your lane gets bigger, and now it doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. Now you can piss off whoever you want because you have your fan base. And you see that in comedy. Like there's comedians, and the answer is they're not for you. They're not good. They're not for you. There's comedians that just aren't for me. It's it's lost on me. I don't dislike you. It's just not for me. I'm not going to heckle you. I'm not going to boo you. I'm not going to talk shit about you. It's just not for me. Because you're not in their lane. But guess what? There's someone who is in your lane.
You don't have to use every spice in the spice rack.
You don't.
Find the flavor and taste that you like.
Right. You got your spice rack, and no one's touched the coriander. It's just what it is. No one's touched the coriander. We don't use that shit around here. And that's what it is. I don't even know what coriander tastes like. I probably don't like it, but no one's using it.
But it sounds sexy.
It does sound. It sounds amazing, right?
So what's the end goal? Just for you specifically, where do you want your comedy to take you? Do you want a Netflix special? Do you want a sitcom? Do you just want to work locally? What's the end goal for you?
I would like I would like all of that. But one thing that I realize is as I age, all I really want is like to be happy and to age gracefully on a plot of land with my family. I know that sounds corny, but in a perfect world, sitcom, Netflix, all of that. But I wouldn't want to do that for 40 years. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to do that for a bit. And then, once the getting gets good, I'll step back. I'll chill. I'll relax. That's fine by me. I'd like to live in a world where I get to play golf 4 times a week, do jujitsu 3 times a week, have a whole bunch of dogs and be around nature. That would be a great end goal for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the type of guy who can't go get a cup of coffee because people are taking pictures of me and following me around, and that I don't want that much popularity, success, fame, whatever. I don't want to be a Justin Bieber type of guy. Working on the weekends, selling out clubs, traveling about, that would be cool. That would be
have
really
notoriety
cool.
and respect for your work, but still be able to go to the store and get your bread and milk.
Yeah, still be a normal human being. I think, outside of comedy, I just think too many human beings don't want to be normal. We think that normal is like a bad word. We think that normal is like not cool. We think we have to be extraordinary all the time. Normal is pretty fucking cool. Normal works.
It does.
So playing golf on a normal golf course with your normal friends is a lot of fun. Walking your normal dog. That was a rescue dog that nobody wanted, and here I got 4 of them, and they're living with you and having a blast. That's pretty cool. Nothing wrong with being normal.
Here's to normalcy. My God.
Yeah. Shit, we could probably use a little more normalcy right now.
We could use normalcy. That sounds like a good title for a special.
Yeah,
Normalcy.
The need for normalcy.
Crazy normalcy. You mentioned jujitsu. Is there any parallels between that and what you do on stage?
Yeah, Joe Rogan does a lot of it. Oh no, I'm joking.
Okay.
It's lonely. Comedy, it can be lonely. Jiu-jitsu, it's just you. There's no one to blame. You get in what you put out. You get in fucked up situations and you gotta get out of them, and you gotta show up the next day. There are many parallels with jiu-jitsu and comedy and just life in general. It's a really cool, fun thing to do. If you need to know more about it, you can listen to Joe Rogan. But yeah, it does teach you a lot of lessons about life, and the lessons you know about life will help you when it comes to being a comedian. So there is a lot of synergy there. But mostly is that you're performing alone. You have a support system. You have people who will help you. People will talk to you about it. You have someone who will give you a ride to the gig, give you a ride to the match. But when it's time to go, it's just you. And when the getting is good, it's you. When the getting is not good, it's you.
You can take all that credit when it's high.
Yep.
That's the beauty of it.
And know that there's going to be a downside. There's going to be a low, and you figure it out. That's one thing that jiu-jitsu does help you with in general, is knowing there's a high and knowing there's a low. You can choke someone and that feels good. Someone's going to choke you and it's not going to feel good. You're better than someone and you're worse than someone. Mm-hmm. That's it. 33% of the time is good. 33% of the time is and 33% of the time it's bad. And you just live in those 33% increments or segments.
I like it. I love it. So I'm going to ask you to put your philosopher hat on and ask you for a pearl of wisdom. So what's a tidbit of wisdom or advice after everything you've been through on stage and acting and in life that you live by day to day?
Know and appreciate when you're in the moments that you always wanted. So when you first started acting, when I first started comedy, and you wanted to be on stage and you wanted to be on set, know when you're on set and when you're on stage, you're in that moment that you wanted so fucking bad. And like, that's it. You're there. Stop looking for the next moment. Enjoy that moment right there. Because when I started, I couldn't get on a show. Now you want me to drive 3 hours for a show? Let's go. I'll drive 3 hours. I think Samuel L. Jackson, that's his thing. That's why he's in all those movies, because he couldn't get work. And then once he realized, he said, once I get work, I'm not going to not work. I think, he's in like 4 movies a year. So just know, like, hey man, no one wanted to book you. Now someone wants to book you. Let's go. Get in the car, drive, get on the train, get on the plane, go. Go to that commercial. And when you're on set for the commercial or the movie or the SVU and the director's kind of an asshole and someone just yelled, "Quiet on set," for the 4th time, You're in the moment you wanted. This is the moment you wanted to be in. You asked for this shit. You worked hard for this shit to be in that very moment. So what are you going to do? You don't cower. It's all part of it. That's my wisdom. I tell my daughter that all the time. You're in the moment. This is it. Did you think it was going to be easy? This is the moment. Let's go. This is what you wanted.
Really love it, love it, love it. So where can people find you? Where can they see where you're going to be next?
You can come to a show. Everything I do is on Instagram, Albert Davis Comedy. I got the YouTube up. That's Albert Davis. I'm working on that. You know, that's one of the hardest things is balancing 9 different social media platforms and getting your stuff out there and not giving up too much. And that's tough. But Instagram's the best. Albert Davis Comedy. New York, Philadelphia, I'm in those places a lot. I'll go even further. Sayre, Pennsylvania and beyond. I'll go just about anywhere. You can catch me on TV from time to time. I think I have 2 commercials that are showing during the NBA Finals right now.
Ooh.
Right?
Aren't you special, my man?
What's the one's the Convol? That's like a securities thing, and the other one is maybe it's a Camelback. Maybe that's regionally. The Camelback comes like if you're in the Camelback earshot or something. But it is pretty cool to get screenshots of like, hey, I was watching the playoffs. Is this you? And you're like, hell yeah, it's me. You know what I do? I screenshot it. And like they'll send me a screenshot. I go to the edit button on my phone. I sign the screen with my finger and send it back to them.
I got to start doing that.
Yeah,
wow.
They go, stay in school, kid. And it's a nice little joke, you know, a nice little lighthearted moment.
That is cool as shit. I got to start doing that myself.
Yeah, do that.
Beautiful. I'm telling you, folks, take my word for it. Go see Albert Davis kill it out there somewhere in the Philly area. And if you're not in the area, go check out his YouTube and his Instagram. He will make you laugh. I guarantee that. I appreciate your time, my friend. I appreciate the insight. Keep killing it. And
thank you.
Let's go smack the golf balls at some point before the weather gets cold.
Whenever you want, man. It does not take a lot to get me to go play golf. I'm actually going to 5-iron golf in Rittenhouse to go hit some golf balls. Now I got some new irons. Got to tighten up to 7-iron. So I'm going to go there. I'm probably going to bring 2 clubs, work for an hour, and then watch some NBA tonight. And the work week starts tomorrow. Hopefully we're on set again at some point.
World's too small, my man.
I know. I love being on set with people that you know. I love when you show up and you're like, yeah, I know this guy. Oh, I know that girl. This is going to be fun. So, yeah, hopefully we'll work together sooner than later.
And if not, then we hit the links.
Right, which we'll be working then, right?
Exactly. I appreciate your time, my man. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much.